Welcome to session 3 of our training on building healthy teams. And like I said in session 2, hope you are learning something from each session. So session 3 is about process, how to build systems that work. And I want to start by this report. In 1999, the National Aeronautic and Space Administration, NASA, lost a 327 million mass orbiter. Not because the engineers were incompetent, not because technology failed, but because one engineering team was using metric units and another team was using imperial units. Nobody had a process that checked for unit consistency across teams. And as a result of that, a missing process destroyed a 327 million spacecraft and 9 months of work for lack of process. I know you are probably not launching a spacecraft, but you have experienced your own version of this before. For instance, the report that went out with wrong data because nobody checked the client, nobody checked. The client meeting nobody prepared for because the responsibility was unclear. The new team member who was left to figure things out alone because there was no onboarding process. These are not purpose or people's problem. They are process problem. And they are entirely preventable. So we are looking at process today. So why process matter? Why does it matter? Why can't I have people who clearly understand the purpose, and as the leader, I make them feel valued? So why should I bother about process? I want you to know that good process does one specific things. It will reduce the amount of energy your team spend on confusion and redirect that energy towards the actual work. Confusion and firefighting will be maximally reduced if your process is clear. Without clear process, your team spend time figuring out who is doing what, recovering from avoidable errors, reinventing approaches that already worked, and managing friction that should never have existed. With clear process, that energy goes into delivery. So the work gets better, the team gets better. People stop feeling like they are constantly firefighting. I can hear an objection that says, we are a creative team. Too much process kills creativity. But research has shown otherwise. There was a research by Harvard Business School professor Teresa Amabel. She found out that creativity thrives within clear constraints. The team that produced the most innovative work had clear roles, definitions, and structured communication rhythms or patterns. They were not constrained by process. Rather, they were helped by the process. So process is not a barrier to creativity. Now, I want us to look at 5 process elements every team needs. 5 process elements every team needs. 1, clear rules. Write down who is responsible for what, not in a general job description sense, in a specific current operational sense. Every team member should be able to answer 3 questions without hesitations. What is my specific responsibility on this team? Who do I coordinate with? And on what? What does good performance look like for my role? If 2 people on your team believe that they are responsible for the same output, conflict is coming. If nobody on your team is clearly responsible for something, it will not get done. Role ambiguity is one of the most consistent predictors of team dysfunction and employee disengagement. So roles must be clearly defined. Second element, regular team rhythm or pattern. Not just meeting before major events. A consistent weekly or fortnightly check-in, short and structured, that keeps the team aligned and connected. A 15-minute weekly stand-up is not bureaucracy. It's not. It is the mechanism through which your team stays connected. There was a research by MIT, Human Dynamic Laboratory, that found out that teams with regular face-to-face or voice communication reading, even brief ones, showed significant higher performance than those who communicated only as needed. The check-in does not need to be long. It needs to just be consistent. Element number 3, onboarding for new members. Most organizations fail here. A new team member joins, the person is given a handbook and a laptop, and that person is expected to integrate within days. Leaders, on the other hand, are surprised when new people take months to become productive or leave within a year. As a leader, assign every new member a body from within the existing team. Someone whose job for the first 4 weeks is to answer questions from the new team member, make introduction and check in informally, maybe twice a week. This costs very little, but the return is immeasurable. Studies by Deloitte shows that organizations with structured onboarding process see 60% year-on-year improvement in new hires, performance, and significantly higher retention rates. Because the people are not just left to find out things on their own, so they integrate faster and they feel welcome in the team. Element number 4, process element number 4, feedback. A feedback culture. Feedback is not an annual performance review. It is the ongoing, honest exchange of information that helps people grow and helps team correct things before small problem becomes large ones. So build a standing agenda item into your regular team meetings. What is one thing we should do differently? It's not a complaint session. A structured question with a clear purpose. And when someone gives you honest feedback, do two things. Thank them specifically and tell them what you will do with it. When people see that their feedback changes something, they give more of it. When they see it disappear, they stop. Tell them what you will do with it. The one that is within your power, do it. The one that you have to get approval, tell them. The one that is not feasible for now, also let them know that we'll keep this in view. Number 5 element, review and improve. After every significant piece of work, just run a short debrief. Maybe 20 minutes, for instance. 3 questions. What were we trying to achieve? What actually happened? What do we change next time? This is how teams get better rather than just repeating the same experience successfully or unsuccessfully over and over. For example, the British cycling team used this approach systematically from 2003 under coach Dave Brailsford. He called it the aggregation of marginal gains, the aggregation of marginal gains, finding 1% improvement in every area repeatedly. Between 2004 and 2012, the British cyclists won 16 Olympic gold medals. The system, not the individuals, produced that result. Because after every event, they sat down to review and improve. What do we do differently next time? If you cultivate this habit consistent and you do it, you cultivate and you keep doing it, you see a great improvement in your team. So I want you to reflect on this question. Remember that this reflection question is supposed to help you. And I said from session 1, answer it. And whatever is your answer, implement it. Number 1, this week, ask each person on your team to describe everyone else's role right now. How consistent do you think the answer will be? Number 2, does your team have a regular reading of connection beyond event preparation? If not, what is the smallest version of that you could introduce this week? Question number 3, ask after your last major piece of work, did your team debrief? What did you learn and what did you change? After your last major piece of work, did your team debrief? What did you learn and what did you change? The next 3 steps I want you to do. Now, the reflection question is to help you honestly diagnose your area for improvement. The next 3 steps, you can see there are 3, is to put it into action. So this week, document your team rules, 1 page. Who does what? Share it with the team and ask for corrections or input. 2, schedule a standing 15 minutes weekly team check-in. Put it in the calendar and make it non-negotiable. Number 3, after your next significant deliverable, gather your team for 20 minutes and ask 3 questions. What were we trying to achieve? What happened? What do we change? Honestly, if you keep doing this, it will amaze you where your team will be in the next 3 months. So we have come to the end of session 3. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the last session.